Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something that I'm actually going through myself. and it's a lot. So, what I've discovered, and this came in to me probably a year ago. Actually, it's interesting because it actually probably coincided with me anchoring my energy into the planet and into this grid point. But what happened is that I got this very clear message that it was time to clear distractions. Now, it came in quite a few different ways. It came in through an ayahuasca session. And then it came in also through a reading I had with Ralph McIntyre, which was supposed to be about astrocartography in this land. And if I actually shared that session, so I'll link it below. But essentially, he spent the entire time talking about how I need to learn how to clear distraction. Now, that was a year ago. And this year has been step by step. Like, first it was almost exactly a year ago, I got off social media and stopped posting. That was a big one for me because, as you guys probably all do and all know that, it's a thing, is the scrolling to see like what other people are doing, what your family, friends, whatever are doing, the pictures. Like, of course, it feels good, but essentially it's taking your energy. So that was the first. So Facebook and Instagram were gone about a year ago. And then, but then what I noticed is then I started using YouTube as my kind of go-to. And videos, like I would be very discerning about who I was giving my energy to. But when I needed that kind of checkout point, that's where I was going. So then I got a little bit too active on YouTube. And then also I would notice myself going into Pinterest and looking at spirituality and images and stuff there. So I was using other forms of distraction, but that were less invasive in a way, but still a distraction. And what I found out is that the reason they said it was time to clear distractions is that we can only go to the depths of our journey when we've pulled back all of our energy from all of the threads that we're giving it out to. So if for example, I was told a year ago, cut them all out, but I couldn't because I guess I'm addicted, right? Obviously, we all are addicted to some degree. So I didn't consciously realize this, but I did it in phases. And basically, the more that I let go of allowing others to siphon my energy, the more that energy was available to come into my own experience. And because, the last year has been an intense year for me. But I think that's how we actually show that we're ready, because we have the reserves of our attention span available to go in versus I'm distracting, I'm numbing, I'm checking out of my body. And basically they showed me that we are the ones that control our own ascension. And I know that and it makes sense, but really we are the ones that are totally capable to make those free will choices of what we choose to do with our time and energy. So the way they show it is that when we tune into other people's experiences, regardless if it's a high vibrational person or news or a comedy or a movie, whatever it is, it's like this funnel opens up and starts pulling your life force from you to go towards the energy creation of that thing. Now, when we think about people that have lots of followers, let's say, what they're using, and this is kind of, it's kind of gross, is the energy from those followers to build up their experience and their energy to create a platform of a leader or a someone that you admire or someone that you go to. And if you know anybody that has this kind of thing, they're following the stats. They know exactly the formula. They know the words to use. They know the length of time to use. Like it's all a game, because it literally is an AI game. But that energy to create that is needed from something, because energy is just a flowing movement. So when we tune into and give our life force to others in that way, of course we're tired. And of course, going deeper into the experiences that are meant for us feel overwhelming. So recently this happened for me after the session that I did with on the Angelic Pearls 144. Zanita came into my experience with like full vengeance, full force, and I was not prepared. And I felt my body retreat. I felt like I couldn't, like, I was talking faster than I normally do. I felt like, I don't know, it's intense, it's overwhelming. And what I now know is that she carries this such a high octave of vibration that I have to now train to even understand or be on that same level, which is, I mean, look, she wrote and channeled this book that I knew a lot of the information, but I got it in my own time as I was ready for it, right? Like I would like let go of this and then receive this, let go of this and receive this. And that's how it works. Like you can only download when there's void space to download. But when a vessel comes in and they are like, blah, I got, I kind of felt like, I don't even know how, like, I didn't even know how to experience it, how to allow it in, how to train with it, how to even, I don't know, find myself in it, because I have never experienced someone with that kind of vibration that's wanting to, I would say, help me to see my potential, because she's not a teacher for me. It's more of like a mirrored reflection. And ultimately we are all one, but she's at a different octave than I am. And the thing I know for certain is that when we pull these people into our experiences, we're ready for them. But it's still this training that you have to do. And I realized I had to let go, because what was happening is all this information was coming in. And my mind wants to gather data, research, like really understand it from every perspective before I can embody it. And it's been a practice of learning that the mind has absolutely no place in any of this. And I know that logically, but to allow energy to come in and to just feel it versus me trying to catch up to understanding it, I couldn't do it. My mind doesn't work that fast. So I was feeling like, stop, brakes, like I can't, I'm overloaded. And then, I mean, what happened is that a few days ago, she had given me these meditations to do, and I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't take in one more thing. And finally, I took the time, because I felt like it was getting to this point where I didn't even feel embodied, because it was too much for me to be embodied. And I was kind of like pulling away, and not with distraction, but with it's so big. How do I even grasp this knowledge? And so what I did is I took time to just do one of these meditations that she gave me. It's like a journey, and it really slowed me back down and brought me back into the body. And what I realized is my mind here has been trying to catch up and like understand and be on the same wavelength, and it never will be, because it's not coming from the mind. But here's the thing. I had to drop more distraction to get to that point. So in the last couple of weeks, I've no more distraction. I mean, even like I would watch, so when Mateus was in Egypt, he did daily videos, and now they're in English, where it's just the edited English version. So I would watch those every day as like the starting of my day, because I always feel like he has just great lessons. But that's like an hour of my time, let's say, and I would do it maybe while I was getting ready for the day. But even that was like a nope, that's got to go. Everything that I think that is enriching my experience and my understanding is from the mind. And they were like, every distraction needs to go. So no more YouTube, no more Pinterest, no more, podcasts I don't listen to anymore, unless like a title calls to me of the people that I follow. But it has to be like a full-on spark, or else no. And I'm left now with, okay, my life has gotten real quiet, but I still have distractions in my daily life. Like I still have my life. I have my family, my dogs, that's me. That's like what this vessel came to experience. So I don't feel like those things are a distraction, and I still take time for them. But I also realize like, okay, I am present, I've spent time, and now I need me time, and I need to be in my own experience so that I can let go into something I don't know at this point. And so I went into this energy, and basically they said that all of the noise in our lives, and again, noise is, what do we use to check out? Now, think about that. If you have a job, you go to job, you do your job. You come home, you have kids, you make dinner, you spend time with your husband. Usually at that point, everybody wants to check out. Everybody. And is it Netflix and chill? Is it scrolling on your phone? Is it like whatever it is? They say that when we do that, we will not be able to connect with that Christos light inside. And the reason is because it requires every ounce of available energy for this vessel to go into that marriage of union with the Christos light. And Zanita would call it the solar flare in the body. Now, I don't think I've had that yet. I definitely have, my monad is here, but I don't think I've completely marriaged with it, meaning the mind is still here. But I'm seeing that mind now, and I'm seeing that, oh, okay. Because look, I was trying to understand the download she was giving me as a mind game, as a okay, no. And that's the same thing when you read her books. Your mind is only going to be able to comprehend one layer of a vast book of knowledge. And I know that logically. So what's happening for me now is me understanding that the mind has to become a tool of functioning in the world, but is not part of this world. And I have to understand when to use it and when to know that it's not here for my benefit. So they said that in order for me to connect completely with that Christos light and have that solar flash internally, I have to let go of every noise that exists in my life. So that's gotten really quiet for me. The only thing I listen to is high vibrational sounds and music. That's it. I feel like by doing that, I've created a vacuum that's now the knowledge or the key codes, the activations are able to drip in because my mind's not fighting and feeling like it's too much. I'm overwhelmed. I can't even grasp 10 texts ago. I can't even, that's how it felt. Like it was so much information that I felt like it's too much. But look, I want to just let you guys know, she wrote these books, I think it's like 5 books within each book took, she said, between 3 days and a week, and all 5 of them in 1 year in 2022. This year, she's already written 2 more books. And she said they just come through her, like, because she's not letting her mind get involved at all. It's just a full-on opening and moving it through. Now, to me, that's not human. Like, no human mind would be able to pump out that kind of content and have it resonate with all of these key codes in them. Like, it's not possible. So I know that she's working on a dimension that's no longer including the mind when she opens herself up to create. So, essentially, the other thing that I got was the energy that's being taken from you when we tune into the noise is what is needed inside to fully find that connection. So, they said it's like fully disconnecting from the conditioning and learning to get your stimulation from inside. So instead of me, for example, having to understand logically, even let's say in the Angelic Pearls 144 book, none of that is logical. It's all like a resonance because I feel it. It's already come through. And so it's a deep knowing of remembrance and then resonance. But the few things that I didn't know, I noticed, like, for example, Metatron's cube came through as me reading the words and understanding how the 12 aspects combine to the center aspect, or the center solar sun. I guess I would say that first trickled in through my mind, but now I've gotten to a place where I feel it, because I've always felt the 12 aspects. So now I understand that solar flash inside, or that moment of marriage, is getting to that 13th sphere inside Metatron's cube. And I have to feel it. I can logically understand it, but until I feel it, it's nothing. See, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like you literally have to disconnect from everything that you know and everything that everyone else is telling you to find it in you. So the other thing then is that they said it's not a surprise that we had the mystery schools to get there in other time-space realities, because we were able to completely merge ourselves with the process. We actually lived in these temples. It was our daily experience. I mean, even if you think about the times of monks and nuns, it was like a full disconnect from reality to connect inside, like to really let go, to fully embrace. And what they were saying is that we chose to come at this time because we're ready for this challenge. We've done this so many times that this time we wanted to see, okay, we've done that. We've had the mystery schools, we've been the nuns, the monks, the isolated hermit. Now, can we do that amongst everything? And not only that, but with an actual phone in your hand that is like constantly wanting to pull your energy. Now, what does that mean? It's a process. It is not like, it's not something that we can, first of all, hold ourselves to anybody else, because we all have different amounts of distraction in our lives. But each step becomes an awareness and a discernment of, okay, I'm definitely all in with my kids, and I'm definitely all in with my husband and my job. Let's just say those are like your top, and me. Like, ultimately, you have to be the main building block of that pyramid. But then what are the extras? What are the things that are, without you knowing, taking your life force and keeping you from your own? Keeping you from going into that experience inside. And look, I mean, I was like, but wait, I totally resonate with Mateus. Like, how is that a distraction? Well, because it's keeping me outside of myself. It's not allowing me to experience these things for myself. Now, that's the mind needs, that mindless chatter, how would I describe it? Like, I talk about it in human design like the hamster wheel. It needs something to chew on so that you can be present, right? Or you think you're present. But the truth is, when we are watching others, we are not present in our own experience. We have fractaled out to give energy to there, and that brings up a thought that I have over here, and now I need to Google this because I don't understand that. Like, you see how all of a sudden your fractals just start moving out. And what they're wanting us to know is that this time, this reality is actually for us to learn how to manage all of it in one vessel, one time node, in one grid location. And we're not doing it alone. They're saying that the nature really helps to steady that. But it's still like an ongoing evolution. And I'm like, I remember Ralph said to me in that reading that I needed to have a room that I went into and nobody could get in, like literally nobody. And I needed to be able to go to that place. And that place was where I was going to find everything. And I remember at the time being like, I don't understand. I'm here to help people. And I mean, energy is flow, and it's whatever is meant to come in is meant to come in. And I do believe that. But I also know that if we don't slow down enough to see the energies that are coming in and work with those energies, what's passing us by? Like with Zanita, I was so blasted open and overwhelmed by the experience, I couldn't even digest one of the things that she was sharing until I let go, until I okay, I'm conditioning myself with the external things of podcasts or YouTube. So because when I watch those things, I'm using my mind to understand them. And what she's telling me and helping me see in myself is that it's no longer there. It's not. If you're stuck in the mind loop, you're not there. You got to let go of the mind to get there. And oh man, it's a lot. And I feel like I know it's exactly the time that it's supposed to come in. And I wanted to share that it is a journey. So if this is resonating with you, start paying attention and seeing where you're checking out. Where do you give your power away? I always like to bring up this example. When you go to Vegas, they have these huge machines, slot machines. And people have one hand is a drink and the other hand's a cigarette, and they're just pushing the button, right? And every time, because there's Indian reservations near me. So when I used to go, we would go to the pools that they have. And when we would walk through the casino, it made me feel just gross because those people sitting at those machines are not even there. Like the energy is fully engaged in this energy that they're giving it to. And it's almost as if they're walking zombies. And I every time I was there, I felt that. But then they said, okay, hello, same thing. You have your screen right here. You carry it in your pocket, in your hand, always with you. And it's the same thing. Energy's gotten so much more complex and sneaky that you don't even have to go to the casino to experience this checkout, right? Like we got Netflix, we got everything. And why? I think I talked about this. It's getting more noise because the vibrations are increasing and the call to go in is increasing. So they have to get way more, exciting and hooks. There's a lot of hooks. But that person's spiritual and I want to understand that. And I guess I would say too, the thing is we can understand it, but you gotta get to the point, let's say if you watch Gaia and there's super educational programs there, but are you just absorbing it with your mind? And if you are, then you're not getting the point because the codes are in the feeling, the codes of actually what the teaching is of a song, of a book, of a podcast or whatever is to feel it. So That's what I would say. If whatever you're tuning into, do you feel it in your body and does it resonate? Or is it a checkout? Because man, once I got that, and this is just a couple days ago, but once I got that, I was able to absorb everything within a matter of a day. And now I don't feel overwhelmed about it. And I feel like, oh, so beautiful for me to even see the words that I choose ripple out. The words that I maybe used even yesterday may not align with me today, because now today I can feel like, where did that word that I used come from? Was it because I was reflecting something I heard with my mind somewhere else and I applied it to this? And I'm going to tell you guys this example. So this is how she gave me a lesson. So she asked me about one of the videos that I've done, which was called Decalcifying the Pineal Gland with the Sonic Slider. And she wanted to know where that came from. So I explained to her about my dream and how the next day the Sonic Slider came in, and that when I used it, it felt like what I experienced in my dream. And she goes, oh, you're such a pure soul. Of course, we had that tool when we were in Egyptian times. So the tool itself, yes, the Sonic Slider is bringing that vibration. But she goes, my question is, why do you think it's decalcifying the pineal? And I was like, I don't understand. I said, well, because what I feel and what I felt in my dream was there was this crunching sensation that helped to release like pressure that then helped me to see with that third eye. And she's like, okay, but what's actually happening is you're moving from a solid form. We need the calcium in the pineal to amplify. It's like the capstone of how the pyramids used to have the capstone to amplify the energy. The pineal is the same way. It's that calcification is actually a crystal that's bringing in the information. So the wording of decalcifying your pineal is actually inorganic. And like she went down this whole thread of, I want you to understand every word that you use has a deeper resonance somewhere. So then I had to like sit with it, because honestly, I believe in that episode. I still believe in the Sonic Slider, and I feel resonant. And the way that it came in, no one told me it, like, this is something you should use for this. So I could not, it took me a couple hours to really understand and absorb the lesson. And then I was like, so then I was like, okay, the word. The reason I got to that word is I felt this crunching sensation, and I thought, because I had heard somewhere in my sphere that the goal was to decalcify the pineal. And I just took the crunching sound as that. And she goes, right. And what's actually happening is you're liquefying the pineal to allow the dimensions to work through you as a wave versus like you seeing them as outside of you. And I was like, okay, I get it. And now what do I do with that? Like, I took something from my mind and translated into this teaching that actually is inorganic, right? So I went back and I edited the title to be called the pineal gland activation with the Sonic Slider, because it goes that deep. Like, whatever words we're using carry resonance. So imagine if every single word that I put out of this mouth carries a frequency, and if it's not completely aligned to my center and truth, then am I looping in these inorganic situations? And I would say yes, because when I took that step back, now that episode is 2 years ago is when I created it, but when I took the step back to try to really identify where the word came from, it wasn't my word. But see, this is my point. I could only get there by getting out of the mind and feeling into back 2 years ago where that episode came from. And everything felt completely correct still. And everything felt like I did the right thing and taught the right thing. I just, when I was titling the episode, came up with this word. So this is an example of what I'm talking about, is like, are we really resonant with what we're putting out? And I mean, that it takes a lot of stillness to really like discern. So ultimately, what I'm trying to get to is where I remember the teachings that we learned together as, in the land of Lemuria. And I know that they're in me. I just have to find them, and I have to get silent enough to let them pass through me. And look, every one of us has a different gift here, a different reason for being here. But the only way we get to that clear state is by letting go of all the noise. And this is just something to ponder, and I'm still obviously pondering it and moving through it myself. But it feels like this pretty big leap in understanding, and I can understand now why there's so much noise out there and why there are so many distractions. Everything in this world is like trying to be in balance. So you have the duality or the polarity of the positive charge and the negative charge. And the more the positive charge moves up, so does that negative charge. It's trying to meet it because it wants to stay in polarity. But if we try to find that center point where you have your full light moving through you, you can't have polarity, right? We have to let go of polarity, which is the noise, no matter if it's positively charged or the negative charge, because ultimately the truth comes from oneness, from literally being in the body of oneness and understanding that everything is me and I am everything. So from that state, allowing the words or the exact words that will resonate with people or that will resonate with whoever is here, I don't create that. It has to move through me. Just like in her books, it's clear that it's not her, like I know her now and she has a very spitfire personality. It's not at all the energy that comes through in the writings. And I have to, no, I don't want to say I have to, because we don't have to do anything, but I do feel the call to kind of find that, I guess that clear light that's not being colored by other people and other people's perspectives. So I just want you guys to sit with this, and this goes along with discernment. And obviously I feel like I'm a master at discernment, but there's always more to learn. So I'm here learning with you, and I love when a new lesson comes in and I can see, like, instead of reacting to it, like, start to really question myself with where I came up with things. It's like this totally bizarre warp zone, but it feels good to then finally come full circle and get to the point of clarity. So, I hope this is helpful, and man, just know I'm in it and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So, I wish this all for you guys too.